Give us the girl or we'll take her.
Enough talk.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of What the Buckler Saw.
How are you? I'm Dan.
I'm Tim.
So the idea is that we show each other films the other hasn't seen, and then we talk about them afterwards. We've just spent 45 minutes trying to get the lights right in it. It's the middle of a heat wave.
In the middle of June on a hot summer's day, what better way to spend it than watching an old movie?
Yes indeed! Conan the Destroyer! And I remember it because I was too young to see it when it came out in the cinema. So I first saw this film on home video cassette. When you had to go and rent a video, a clunky one from the shop.
No Netflix back in them days.
No Netflix then, mate.
It was a different time.
I mean, Dad bought it home, and I remember watching it, and I was lucky because I saw them the wrong way round. I saw Conan the Destroyer first, which is good because it's a bit more kiddified. It's an easier intro.
See, I barely remember Conan the Barbarian. All I remember of that film is he's a slave, then he's walking around a circle with some kind of windmill thing, and James Earl Jones is wearing a snake hat.
And turns into a snake at one point.
He does. It's all coming back to me now.
Conan the Barbarian's a heavy film. Tim, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Then come with me to the days of high adventure. Well, there we are. We've just returned. We've just returned from the times of high adventure. Tim, what's your first thoughts on Conan the Destroyer?
I thought it was absolutely rubbish, but in a glorious way. Glorious rubbish. I enjoyed it very much.
The sort of glorious rubbish that only 80s sword and sorcery can be.
I found it a lot more engaging than the original Conan, if I'm honest.
It's a very different film.
But
it's more of a romp.
Yeah.
You know,
it's more fun.
In this one, you can actually watch this with a child. Do you know what I mean? Sit by today's standard. I mean, Conan's not biting anyone's ears off. He's not fighting in pits. He's not getting nailed to a tree.
No swearing, there's no boobs. If it was released in the cinemas today, it would probably be a 12.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of blood and that's probably it. It promises better monsters than it delivers. There's a couple of scenes where like Conan and his gang are riding past the remains of, say, a gigantic woolly mammoth. We're not going to see that at any point. No, the monster we get is when Conan arrives at the sorcerer's castle. The sorcerer, I believe his name is Rath Amon, appears before Conan as a beast, a monster, wearing one of those weird rubber monster masks that you can buy better masks in shops now.
There's a lot of homoeroticism, like
An awful lot.
when Conan fights this monster. There's the longest time it's just behind him straining, but
While he
for an
strains.
unnatural long time. It's the stuff memes are made of.
It really is.
Crazy. I like how there's an unspoken rule that everyone in the land of high adventure has to wear some kind of hat.
Yes.
Like, even if it's just a bandana or it could be a full face mask. Even the horses wear hats in this film. You got the magician's hat's like an upside down ashtray with a bit of string tied to it. You got Grace Jones's hat. She's got a hat for headbutton, which is like a metal plate one. She's also got a hat at the end of the film, which has got a nice little number that has pigtails coming out of it.
She has. Conan changes his headband on a regular basis.
He does. Lots of costume changes.
And how small the costumes are. Grace Jones is obviously in this film. I believe it was, if it's not her cinematic debut, it's fairly close. At the time she was dating Dolph Lundgren. Dolph would of course go on to play He-Man, who is of course a knockoff of Conan.
Yeah.
Grace Jones does play she plays Zula, the Amazon warrioress, who seems to she's her weapon of choice being a stick, which she likes to jab men in the ghoulies with, which she does a couple of times.
Swings around their head whilst they just sort of stand there and take it.
Schwarzenegger's great in it.
I can't think of anyone better.
Arnold, I know people say he can't act, but I just find him watchable.
Charismatic. He's just charismatic as all crikey.
Yeah. And this is one of his early films, so obviously he's not at the peak of his acting powers, but he still radiates a certain something. I mean, there's no two ways.
He looks the business when he's swinging the sword. Even when he's pulling funny faces, that's the face I'd see a barbarian pull if he was in that situation. He looks like a cartoon come to life.
Yes, he does. We have Sarah Douglas.
Ursa from Superman 2.
Basically, we have Sarah Douglas playing Ursa from Superman 2 with a different outfit. She plays the evil queen.
I don't understand why she feels the need to attack Conan before she gives the proposition. Why does she just turn up? They entered. Conan sat there with Malak.
Yes.
who's the most useless character ever. I'm guessing he's supposed to be the comic relief, but he's not funny.
Yeah, the plucky, unfunny comic relief
Literally
character.
does nothing. Like, they could have had a twist where he was just a figment of Conan's imagination and it would have totally worked. Adds nothing to the story. He hasn't got a journey, he hasn't got...
He doesn't even raise a titter.
Well, they just sat there and they attack him. And then the proposition's made, rather than just going up and saying, "Oi, Conan,
Help us out, mate.
help us out, here's the thing."
Yeah. Now you've killed 6 of our men, we're actually here to make you a job offer. You brutally slaughtered everyone.
It's hilarious because there's a lot of parts in the film where they sort of just sit there and wait for things to play out. Like Grace Jones attacks, what's his name, Barbato?
Barbato, yes.
Barbato. She just attacks him, and rather than the gang helping their mate out, sort of just wait on horseback and we'll see how this plays out.
See what goes on.
There's a bit when Conan stabs the evil wizard, and he starts to stagger towards the diamond, obviously up to no good, and rather than stopping him, Conan's just... See what happens next. Ooh.
Rathamon is the evil wizard who briefly in the middle. He's not that big a part, but he's played by Pat Roach, who was a mainstay of films at the time. Pat Roach would invariably appear as a henchman. He's in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He plays 2 henchmen in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He plays the guy whose arm catches fire in the bar fight at Marion's, and he appears as the bald German who gets fed face first into a propeller later on in the film.
Right.
And he would often pop up in films. He was a British wrestler and also Bomber from A Wiedersehen Pet, but he pops up in films all the time and he appears in this. But as a wizard who has one or a couple of just bizarre lines. They arrive to rescue the princess and he sees them coming in his crystal ball and he just says, "You're too late, my friends, but come anyway." It's like they're late for a party. Come anyway, why not? You're too late. Well, they're not, because she's still alive.
Yeah,
you know,
they do save her.
And there's no real time limit on when they need to save her, so they're not late for anything, but you're too late, my friends, but come anyway.
The line should be, "You're not too late, please don't come."
Yeah, back off.
Soundtrack's surprisingly good, like really good. But it's a shame because they cheapen it, because they add random like generic twinkly tones whenever something magical happens or whenever there's a big reveal. And it kind of sounds like a notification on a phone going off.
Yeah.
Like half expecting Conan to pull out his phone and be like, "Sorry, 1 second. I got another like for that Instagram picture of me decapitating those cannibals." Like,
Mako appears in this film as he always does in any film. If you're watching an 80s fantasy film, there's a good chance Mako will appear as a little wise man.
who's Mako?
Mako is the actor who plays the wizard.
Does he have a surname?
No, one word, like Cher. Mako. He plays a wizard whose magic consists of him basically doing this.
It's straining like he hasn't been to the toilet for a few days.
Yes, indeed. A man in need of Reducol. So he is the wizard. When he first appears, he's being cooked alive by cannibals over a very small fire. And Conan turns up and just chops them all to pieces and, you know, just says, what's he say? "I need you. I'm yours." Because the quest is for this horn, this god's horn that they're going to put back in its snout. So, if Schwarzenegger says, "I've got the horn once," I've got the horn, we need the horn, they've got the horn. They do get the horn, ultimately, into the snout of the god statue, and it does come to life. But because the girl is not oh, spoilers, by the way. Because the sacrifice goes wrong, it turns into a weird... It looks like the monsters in this film are not good, and the final monster is particularly egregious. It's like... It's got the face of the Ood from Doctor Who, and this big kind of weird, like Godzilla-like body as it flaps about. And do you know who's playing the monster? Here's a fascinating fact for you, uncredited.
Is this someone who does that a lot?
No.
Is it Jean-Claude Van Damme? It's always Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No, it's not Jean-Claude Van Damme. It is Andre the Giant.
Andre!
From the wrestling, yeah.
What? Why wouldn't you have Andre play a character? It'd be perfect for a fantasy film like that.
And he was in The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
There's a wizard battle where our good wizard, Mako, has a battle with another evil wizard. There's about 4 or 5 evil wizards in the course of this. And the battle consists of the 2 of them facing each other, Mako going, "Ooh," the evil wizard going, "Ah!"
There are opposite sides of the door that
Yeah.
goes up and down, depending on which wizard's
winning.
which wizard's using the force better.
Ah! Ooh!
Whilst everybody else is just sat around watching this go on, no one's thinking they're going to take out one of the other wizards. They're just...
Once again, standing back and watching. And then the baddie wizard straining so hard he blows his own eyes out.
Everyone needs their time to shine.
Everyone needs their little moment to come forward. Even the plucky, pain-in-the-arse, unfunny comic relief character. Actually, no, he doesn't get a moment. She just sort of is annoying all the way through it.
It's like a starving Michael Flatley.
He does.
Bob? Gun.
So that, my friends, is Conan the Destroyer.
It's rubbish, but it's hilarious rubbish.
It's entertaining rubbish.
It's one to
it's watchable
watch with a
rubbish.
pre-drink and a
Yeah.
couple of beers to have a giggle with.
It's a good, your Friday night, you're half cut, stick it on.
Thank you for watching. Come back next time for another thrilling episode of What the Buckler Saw. I've been Tim.
And I've been Danny.
See you later.